let's try this. Dustin's on the line from Canada. Dustin's agnostic. Pronouns are he, him. Says, wants help understanding what Matt says theists need to demonstrate the possibility of God. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm okay. What are you stuck on? What is it that you're having difficulty? Yeah, what question did you have that I might be able to clear up?
Yeah, recently I was watching a couple of just clips from the streams, and you were asking one theist that was on to explain how it's even possible for there to be a God before you would accept it as a possibility. And that just pretty much got me thinking, like, how do you show that anything is possible without just doing the thing? 300 years ago, if someone was, 300 years ago, if someone was like, I think we could build a flying machine, and then someone was like, I won't even accept that as a possibility until you show it's a possibility. To do that, then you would just have to build the airplane. So are you asking theists to present you a deity before you accept that one as a possibility?
To some extent, yes. But here's the thing. There's a number of different categories of possibility. There's philosophical possibility, where for philosophy purposes, we assume that something is possible until such time it's been demonstrated to be impossible. There are issues with that. That's basically there for thought exercises, that you assume something is possible. But then there's the sort of epistemic possibility that in the world we live in, given what we know, X is either possible or impossible, and we should only accept possibility once it's been demonstrated and impossibility once that's been demonstrated. And until then, we should reserve judgment. That's kind of the foundation of skepticism. I don't know how to demonstrate that a God is possible, but every theist that I ask that question to doesn't know either, because none of them have made any sort of attempt to show that it's possible. It would be nice to even see an attempt to show, because if somebody says, hey, I don't think it's possible for us to build a machine that would allow us to fly. If you say it's impossible, you have adopted a burden of proof. If you say it's possible, you have adopted a burden of proof. If you say, I'm not convinced it's possible, you don't have a burden of proof, because you can also be not convinced that it's impossible. And so if somebody says, I can build a flying machine, or build a machine we can fly, the time to believe that is after it has been demonstrated. And if we go from that point to the end of civilization and nobody ever builds it, then we will remain in a position of not knowing whether or not it was possible. But you don't have sufficient reason to conclude it's possible. There are things, tons of things, that we not only know are possible, but are actual. And there are things that we presume, based on reason, are possible as we're exploring. And we only assume they're possible in the sense of, hey, I think there might be something like dark matter out here. Let's call it dark matter. We don't know what it is. We don't even know if it exists. We don't even know if it's possible yet. But we need an explanation for this. So let's go out and start doing the experiments. And so there's this philosophical acceptance that we should treat it as if it's possible in order to explore it and try to solve the problem. That is separate from whether or not it's actually possible or not, because we may find out it is impossible. So when somebody says God exists, and I want to know, how do you demonstrate God exists? They will often say something like, well, the impossibility of the contrary. Okay, how did you determine that your God was even possible? And in the 20 years I've done this, nobody's even made an attempt at demonstrating possibility. So I don't know whether a God is possible or not. But I keep getting calls from people who are not only convinced it's possible, but actual. And if something's actual, it should be trivially easy to demonstrate that it's possible, and pretty easy to demonstrate it's actual.
No, I get that.
Cool.
Yeah, because like I said, I've seen a few of your guys' clips, and usually I am just kind of, well, you're usually not the one chuckling. You tend to get heated sometimes, but whoever you're with will, sometimes have like a like a laugh, and I'll be laughing along like, oh, this and you're another theist who's making like absolute claims without being able to provide any sort of proof. And I've never, felt any need to call in about that, but I wanted to call in about something that, like I didn't actually, like something you said where like, oh, I actually don't fully agree with what he's saying here. I want to call in and like see what he has to say, And I thought you gave
Do
a
you
very
agree
good,
now?
a very good explanation.
So are we in agreement now? Or it doesn't matter. You can just think about it more. And if you have other questions, call us back.
Yeah. Could I shoot you one more quick thing?
Yeah, but shoot it at Brady.
Okay. Because like for me personally, I came to the conclusion, like for my own personal conclusion a while ago when it comes to God, that because we can explain everything, right back to the Big Bang basically, and before that there's only theories. So for me, God has just been another one of those theories, and for me, I've always thought like at best, no one can say whether there is or isn't a God. It's 50-50, which is why I just call myself agnostic. Because it's like, is there a God? Was there a God before the Big Bang who set it into motion and then, fucked off? Like, well, it's 50-50. That's the way
How
I've
did
always
you,
looked at it. So,
Dustin, how did you arrive
because,
at the 50-50 number? Because 50-50 means it's either one thing or another thing. There could be many things. So how do you get 50-50?
Well, I just think, if you look at it.
Dustin, I'm sorry, one more.
Ahead.
If it's 50-50, that means it's 50% chance that's one thing, 50% chance that it's the other thing. What's the other thing?
Well, I mean, like when you were talking about the possibility of there being a God, it's like pretty much everything. I think objectively, it either is or it isn't. So like, either there is a God or there is not a God, and no one.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that there's a 50% chance. Hey, Justin, if you buy a lottery ticket, do you have a 50% chance of winning?
Right. Because you either win or you don't, right?
Right. But no, like the reason I came to the 50-50 is because I don't know. Like I don't know.
If you don't know, then why are you putting a number on something you don't know?
Because I think that's the best guess. I just think 50-50 is the best guess anyone could make. Like I'm just guessing.
Cool.
So in my personal opinion, whether or not, a God exists, I think personally the most objective answer anyone can truthfully give is, well, there's a 50-50 shot. Either it does or it doesn't exist.
I think that's absolutely asinine and demonstrably false.
Can you demonstrate that it's false?
I can demonstrate that you do not have, even by your own admission, evidentiary warrant to conclude what the odds are that a God exists.
Okay. Can you continue that?
No, I just finished it. By your own admission, you said you have no way of figuring out what the actual odds are, so you're going to take your best guess. And what I'm saying is... Okay, go ahead.
And what you're... No, sorry, I was just agreeing with you so far, and what you're saying is...
Okay. If you don't have a way to reach a conclusion, then reaching a conclusion is irrational. Why not just say you don't know what the odds are that a God exists? Because that seems to be the correct answer.
I think that's a fair point.
I'm aware it's a fair point.
But I also just think, like you said, right? If I buy a lottery ticket, do I have a 50-50 chance of winning the lottery? Like, no, technically, no. There's like maybe
not just
winning lottery
ticket. Actually, no.
In a million, yeah, actually, no. There's one winning lottery ticket in 10 million.
No, that's not the case either, Dustin. There can be multiple winning lottery tickets.
Okay, sure, but you know what I mean. There's a very small percentage of winning lottery tickets. There's a very small percentage chance that I'm going to win the lottery. But
you know what? We can actually calculate the odds of people winning the lottery.
It's either going to be a winner or it's going to be a loser. So that's like kind of the way that I'm looking at.
Yes.
The
and if you keep
of
saying,
existence of a God.
And if you keep saying that there's 50% chance for God, you're a loser. Because you're betting on something that you cannot demonstrate. As a matter of fact, how likely is it that the odds of a God are in fact 50%? Because I would argue that the odds that a God exists are either 100% or 0%.
Right. And the average of that would give you 50-50. I don't know. It's either yes or no.
Cool.
How do you get to the average?
Sure. So it's 50-50. Add 2 and divide by, add the 2 things and divide by 2.
Sure. So if there's can 9 women deliver a baby in a month?
Can 9 women deliver a baby in a month?
I mean, if it takes one woman, if it takes one woman 9 months to deliver a baby, does that mean it can take that 9 women can deliver a baby in a month?
Well, no, because a pregnancy is a human pregnancy.
Stop using analogies. They are always flawed, and you are not good at it right now. You're coming up with things to show why you're confused. You still haven't answered the most important question, Dustin. Why isn't it okay for you just to say I don't know?
No, it is fine for me to just say I don't know.
Then why aren't you doing it? Then why aren't you doing it? Then why aren't you doing it? I don't know either.
Well,
think on that.
Because I guess I thought. All right.
You don't have to make up your mind today about whether whether or not there is a God. The only thing you have to make your mind up on is whether or not you currently have sufficient information to reach a conclusion. And the answer right now, based on everything you've said and all the available evidence, is that no, you do not have currently sufficient information to warrant a conclusion. So that means I don't know is the right answer.
Okay, I agree with that.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks for taking my question.
Yep, we'll see you.
Thanks for watching that clip. Hey, we're trying to do some data research about whether or not our callers successfully proved that God existed. If they didn't, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's how we know they failed. But if you don't like and subscribe, you're saying that they succeeded. So you're saying that by liking and subscribing, you will be affirming that you are an atheist. Hey, what else should they do?
I don't know. Maybe go to patreon.com/calltheline and donate some of their hard-earned money.
Like and subscribe.